Hello, friends. What's up? I wanted to make a short video. Hopefully, this one will be short. To talk directly to anybody that feels like they don't know what they're doing, that they're not aligned with what they want for themselves, or just anybody that needs a little bit of motivation. So first, I'll start with some good news, which is that I will be moving from North Carolina to New York in a couple of days at this point, because this summer I'll be starting a teaching position in New Jersey. For those of you who don't know, I've lived in North Carolina for the past 3 years, but I'm originally from New York. So basically, I'll be going home for all intents and purposes. Just briefly to talk about teaching, it's something that I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted my career to center on literature, on children, on Black children. And I've had different positions along the way that touched on that, but weren't quite that. But as I said, for the folks watching this video who need this video, I share that information because it's been a winding road in the last couple years to get to this stage that I'm in now. And that's not to say that I've arrived or anything along those lines, but I do feel as though making this move by myself and just trying to really structure my life around what I want is something that's very new to me. I spent the first half of my 20s, the first 3 years, 20, 21, and half of 22, I was still in college. And then in the years right after that, I moved here. So I'm just now like hitting the midpoint of my 20s, and I do feel distinctly different, right? And I spent the first couple years of my 20s just bouncing from job to job, apartment to apartment, and just trying to find something that stuck. And I don't regret that. I was very fortunate to have a great partner through that so that I didn't have to do that alone. But by and large, I spent a lot of my time in Asheville feeling alone, insofar as I went from living within walking distance of all of my friends to then moving to a town that I didn't know anybody and having to start from scratch. And as an introvert, I spent a lot of that time alone. I didn't exist on a campus anymore where my friends would go to stuff, events were happening, they were preset, I knew what to expect from them. So I will say that I spent the last couple years really just focusing on myself, wanting to get to know myself, and professionally trying out things that I did and didn't like. And I can say with my chest that I don't regret any of that. Although there were the lowest of low points through that. And just to be truthful, I spent most of last year really doubting myself, because professionally nothing was sticking. I'm not somebody who will stick around at a job that is not a good fit, so that meant leaving positions rather often, which means now I have a variety of different skill sets, but at the time I just felt like such a loser. You know, the school that I went to, people, when we graduated, they sent out a list of what people were doing after school. And while the vast majority of people probably didn't know, everyone that like shared was going to grad school, they were getting a PhD, they were getting a law degree, they were going to work at some Fortune 500 company. And I really felt like, oh, so I'm just whack. Like, and at least professionally, I didn't really question my self-worth, you know, because I think there's a huge difference between your profession and your character. But, you know, I just felt like a loser. Like, that was a word that I used for myself, unfortunately, for a lot of last year. And what I wish that I could tell myself then, but I can't, so I'll tell it to you, is that I firmly believe that our paths are set for us. And it's not to say that we don't take responsibility in our lives, but it's important to trust that the answers will come. There's this graphic that I'll put up. But basically, it's important to be comfortable not knowing what's going to happen. And that said, it takes a lot of mental strain off because then you're not fixated on the future. You're able to be present. But it gets you comfortable with the idea of I'm just going to trust myself to make good choices and know that what's out of my control is what's right for me. I spent so much of my time living in North Carolina just wondering, when am I gonna leave? You know, when it was 2018, I thought, okay, I'm leaving in 2018. And then I didn't leave in the middle of 2018, so I thought, okay, it's definitely gonna be 2019. And then really even in the beginning of 2020, I wasn't sure. But I think that what changed was also just a recognition of, again, what is in my control and being observant to my circumstances. You know, nothing was sticking. I could not find a job that made me happy where I lived. And I took that as a sign. And all but one of the friends that I had made since being here all left. Like, they just left. Like, they moved other places. And so that, among other things, I just took as a sign of, this is not for me anymore. My time here is up. And I also, for a variety of reasons, was going to New York a lot more often after not going for almost a year. And I want to say I went to New York, let's see, I went in October, November, December. I didn't go in January, and then I went in February. So I went to New York 4 times in 5 months after not going for almost a year, and just things fell into place, is what I will say. If you feel lost, just know that good things are coming, that what's going on now is not what will be going on forever, and that you are not the first nor the last person to feel like this. Really and truly ask yourself, what do I want? And if what is around you is not what you want, what do you have control over changing? I mentioned in one of my Let's Chat videos that I don't compare myself to anyone. That was a total lie. I don't compare myself in the sense of I want what this person has, but rather think, well, I'm just going to try and do everything that I can as best as I can and see how much better that is than other folks. And hopefully it's better. And spent so much of my early 20s building up that life. And as I mentioned, I think in that same video, the one where I had the orange sweater that was really nice, I think in that same video, though, I said I made this whole life for myself and then took stock and was like, I don't want any of this. So I fortunately have been able to make a blueprint for what I hope will be more closely aligned to the life that I want. I realize how much in the past year or so that I was really unhappy. A lot of that unhappiness came from trying to live for other people. And I don't want to do that anymore. So I'm not going to. And I'm scared. I'm scared for what's going to happen because it's new, and I keep finding ways to avoid talking about it or packing or studying for the praxis or whatever. But it's here and it's happening. And I'm happy about it. I'm excited. So I hope that for anybody that feels how I've felt time and time again in the past couple of years, just know that whatever aspect of your life that it is that's not fulfilling right now, for me, a big part of that was my professional life. Just know that you're more than that. There's more to you than that aspect. And for those parts that aren't fulfilling, how much do you have control over? And the parts that you don't, what are ways to cope? I hope that was a little thought exercise for y'all. And I don't know, let me know what's new or exciting or what you're happy about right now. And I'll see you in my next video.